What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. My name is Chandler Rome, along with Tyler Stafford. And Tyler, I think Steph Curry just hit another three at Toyota Center. I think Fernando Tatis just did something more incredible. It was an interesting weekend in Houston sports, capped off on Sunday by the Astros dropping a 3-2 defeat against the San Diego Padres on national television on Sunday Night Baseball. But they did win the first two games of the series. Unquestionably, probably their three best games they've played in consecutive days this weekend against a very good opponent. And like we mentioned on the last pod, they did not have maybe their A pitching rotation going. A nice showing for a team that needed it.
Yeah, they look good. I mean, taking 2 or 3 from the Padres definitely feels good. Pitching was pretty good, considering who it was that was going out there. You said Steph Curry. Okay, I'm gonna show my true Rockets fandom here. I don't watch basketball unless the Rockets are in the playoffs, so it's been a while since I watched basketball. I switched over to the Rockets game as soon as the Astros game was over, and they kept calling him Stephen Curry. Did I miss when they switched to calling him Stephen Curry? Sound off in the comments. When did that happen? Because I've never heard that in my life, and they called him that 100% of the time.
So they're calling him first and last name.
Yeah, anytime. I mean, they would say Curry every once in a while, but they would say Stephen Curry. If they said his full name, it was always Stephen. And I don't know when that happened.
I feel like he is at a spot where he should just be Steph.
But they never called him Steph. It was always Stephen Curry. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was like a PR thing that happened. Somebody will let us know. But it was throwing me off for most of the game. I'm like, why do they keep calling him Stephen? I mean, I know that's his name, but I've never heard someone call him that.
Yeah, maybe that's like something he wants. I don't know, but he is in the rarefied air where
it's too late. I mean, he's Steph Curry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that is like undeniable. But again, like I'm like you, I only tune into the Rockets when the games are like meaningful or the playoffs. So I don't know. I could have been missing this. This could have been a thing for the last 4 months that I don't know about. So, but he's still good though. Good player.
Mm-hmm.
They should put more guys on him.
Mm-hmm.
When he wants to shoot 35-foot threes. But there's more games for them to think about that. So we'll do something a little bit different today. Going back to the Astros, we'll do something a little bit different. We're going to do a stock report. So they've played 21 games. We're going to look at 4 or 5 players and put them in a different category, kind of stock up, stock down sort of thing. And I think, Tyler, because they just played the San Diego Padres, let's honor a former Padre for our first analysis here. Josh Hader is really good. And
he's so good. He's so good.
I know you've been on this soapbox for a while about how he gets kind of an unfair.
It's the easiest soapbox in the world to be on, is that Josh Hader is good at pitching, and I will stand by it.
And I have said in the past, the reason why he got a lot of criticism from fans last year is because when you're paid $95 million, it better look, pretty wipeout, pretty elite. There better be no hiccups. He has looked every bit a $95 million closer to start this season in his first 9 appearances. He has 6 saves. He has 13 strikeouts in 11 innings. He's allowed 1 run. He has a .636 whip. I mean, he has been everything that the Astros could have hoped and everything that they envisioned when they signed him last winter. He saved 2 games in this series, was just incredible. And he has been it has gotten lost because of the uneven nature of their season, right? They went 14 straight games where they alternated wins and losses. So he would get a save and then you wouldn't see him again the next day and he'd kind of go out of sight, out of mind. They put 2 wins together in a row in this series. He came in both of them and shut the door, was untouchable. This is the Josh Hader that the Astros thought they were getting when they signed him last year. And if they get this all season, that is a huge boon to a bullpen that needs it.
It's the Josh Hader that was there from like May on of last year. He had like 1 bad month, and because relievers throw so few innings, it skewed the whole season. He's so good. He's second on the pitching staff in WAR above Fromber with half the innings. He's unbelievable. He's so good. And Yeah, that's an easy hill to die on for me.
Do you want to see something insane?
I can't wait to find out what this is going to be.
If you're watching on YouTube, you're in for a treat. Look at this. Like, I mean, come on. Look at all that red. Like, red is good.
Chandler
And
has pulled up his baseball savant percentile ranking, and it is literally just all like 80th, 90th percentile and above. He's so good.
he has a 20% hard hit rate and a 40.3% chase rate. Like, that is elite.
And he
look,
throws 2 pitches. It's like, do you know how good you have to be? It's like they know what's coming. There's only 2 of them. You can pick one, and it doesn't matter.
and remember all that talk in spring training about how he's going to throw his changeup more? He's thrown 7 changeups all year. Like, I mean, he's sinker slider and no one can hit it.
He could throw that fastball every time, and it would be fine. It's good.
Yeah, he's and at points last year he got a little predictable, and he said that his sequencing was off and he got a little predictable. But again, we're in a small sample size thing. It's been 9 games he's pitched, so like let's not overreact to what he's doing. But like it's clear he has solved whatever failed him last year. And as this team, when they get into their winning streaks and when they get on long stretches where they're going to need him to pitch well, this is the guy that they needed, and he has been. I think this weekend, when they finally won 2 in a row, I think it showcased everything that they want and they've got in Josh Hader.
Yeah, you know who else is good?
Who's that?
Is Cam Smith.
All right, let's do it. You're
the
conductor. Let's do it.
He rules, dude. He's so good. I cannot believe how good he is in right field. It makes no sense that he's that good in right. I mean, that's where scouts thought he would end up eventually anyways, like the corner outfield, maybe first base, because he's just huge, right? But I mean, dude, he looks like he's been playing there since Little League. He's making crazy catches. He's got a great arm. It's unbelievable. And also he hit 2 home runs in a game. He has more home runs than Yordan Alvarez. Like, he's really good.
This was rendered moot a day later, but I did use this line in my story on Friday night. He drove in more runs with 1 swing in the 4th inning than Christian Walker had driven in all season. And we will get to Christian Walker a little bit later. He is not in the stock up category, but a couple things about Cam Smith this weekend that were encouraging to me. One, he finally pulled the ball. Finally pulled the ball in the air. Before Friday's game, he hit both of his home runs to the pull side. Only 7 major league hitters were pulling the ball less frequently than Cam Smith. Now, it should be noted that Cam is naturally a guy that uses all fields. He naturally looks to go the other way. So all this thought, and look, I had this thought as well when I was watching him at first, that all the opposite field contact, you kind of thought maybe he was late, maybe he wasn't, squaring things up. That is what he's naturally trying to do. He's naturally trying to go the other way. But at the same time, Astros hitting coaches have been telling him, start your load quicker, start your swing quicker, start everything quicker, because his natural and Cam Smith said this on Friday, his natural reactions just were not quick enough at the big league level. And so he's taken some time, he's adjusted, he told us that he picked a certain point when the pitcher begins his forward movement and his delivery, that's when he picks his front foot up, and that's when he starts his swing. And I mean, I told a player that I was talking to the day after the game, his first home run, the one he hit 108 miles an hour and 410 feet. I told the player, I looked at him, I said, I've been waiting on that for a month and a half. And the player just kind of nodded, goes, yeah, we have too. And when he really gets a hold of a ball, it's a sight to see. So it was nice to see him go to his pull side. And then Tyler, tonight, I want to get your thoughts on this. That at bat he took in the 9th inning against Robert Suarez, a guy that has not given up anything all year, was spitting on chase changeups, not even flinching against them, ripped a 100-mile-an-hour fastball that Yuli Gurriel, of all people, laid out and robbed him of. Cam looked just completely in disbelief after he robbed, because he knew, like, he put together such a good at bat right there. And to do that against that velocity, against that sort of stuff, like that at bat to me showed more than maybe even the 2 home runs did on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, this time last year, he was facing future used car salesmen. Like,
I prefer insurance I prefer
Yeah,
insurance. I
sure. Yeah.
tell whenever like there's a quad A guy coming up or like a guy that's on his last leg in the AAA, I always gonna say, oh, he'll sell great insurance in a year.
Yeah. Hey, I'm in sales. No shame. But yeah, he wasn't facing Suarez a year ago. And like you said, it's the at bats. It's every pitch. He just looks so comfortable in the box. And like I said, he's playing right field. Like that makes no sense. He should not be able to do that. I don't think we should stop talking about that. That a month ago he learned how to. Did he even have a glove? Probably not, right? Like whose glove was?
I think he brought one because again, the whole plan was he was going to play right field when they sent him to minor league camp, and he never went to minor league camp. So,
But I mean, at what point in his life did he have an outfield glove? He didn't play it at Florida State, did he? Like, he's just learning the position, and I mean, he got tricked on one on that Tatis triple, but anybody would. That's fine. He's so good, man. He's so good.
Yeah, let's talk about him in right field real quick. So, I think it's easy to look at the plays he does make. Like the Gavin Sheets play today was incredible. I mean, the range, the length, the wingspan to go out and get that ball. However, talking to coaches, talking to people around the team, he is certainly not a finished product. Like the routes are still kind of iffy sometimes. You saw the ball with Tatis today. He didn't. I mean, that was a tough play, but again, that's one when you're a major league right fielder in a one-run game, like you got to make that play. You got to you can't let him get an extra base, especially Tatis. The thing about it is, Tyler, like, yeah, he's not a finished product. He's still going to get subbed out late in games for defense, but like he is so athletic. He is such a freak athlete that sometimes it doesn't matter because you can make up for a bad route with being 6'5". You can make up for a bad route with covering 30 feet per second when you sprint. And he's got such good instincts and he's got such good athleticism that he doesn't need to be a finished product right now for him to be an average to maybe even above average right fielder. He's only going to get better out there.
Yeah. So fun.
Yeah. It was very fun to watch him this weekend because I think we finally got like full bloom Cam Smith. Like we got like every at bat he went up there. Like, look, he had a couple punch outs, and that's going to happen. He faced Dylan Cease today. Like you're going to punch out against Dylan Cease. A lot of people punch out against Dylan Cease, but even in the at bats where he strikes out, even with some of the swing decisions, like he's never looked overwhelmed. He's never looked overmatched. It's not going to be perfect. And Joe Espada, I thought Joe Espada was very measured on Friday after Cam's 2-homer game. He didn't want to lavish a ton of praise on. He did and said, it was a good confidence builder for him. But he said, like, we need to take it slow with this guy. Like, we can't just overreact to one good game or one bad game or one home run. I know you will, Tyler.
Too late, Joe. Back off.
I know you will. But, like, we have to remember that this is going to be a very, very developmental season. They committed when they carried him on the roster that they were going to take their time with him, that they were going to accept the peaks and the valleys. And we've seen a couple valleys already early, but this weekend was certainly a peak for Cam Smith against the best team in baseball. I mean, the best team in baseball came to town, and Cam Smith stole the show on Friday nights, certainly, and then Sunday. I thought it was funny. I was watching a little bit of the ESPN broadcast while I was in the press box, and Carl Ravitch even said at one point, he's like, yeah, I covered this guy last year in Omaha. And it was, and like, that's incredible to hear that. Like,
it's crazy. It really is.
So we will get to more of who impressed us and some guys that did not impress us right after this message from our friends at Foul Territory.
Alana, we love our pups dearly, and we want to shout out Spot and Tango for taking care of our pups with their unkibble. They are a game changer.
A game changer is right, Scott. And you know anything about me, you know that I love dogs and I want them to live forever. My own rescue pup, Bentley, is my passion, and she loves Spot and Tango. Thank goodness. It's 100% human grade ingredients, so you know exactly what your dog is getting. Oftentimes in other forms of dog food, you have no idea what's in it. It's a bunch of fillers. She loves it. It helps keep her healthy. It's perfectly customized for her age, her breed, her weight, and her level of activity. Makes me happy to give it to her.
And you don't have to go to the store. They'll deliver it right to your door. Spot and Tango is offering an exclusive deal for the FT network. For a limited time, go to spotandtango.com/Val. Use code FAL for 50% off your first order. That's spotandtango.com/Val, code FAL for 50% off your first order. One more time for the pups out there. Code FAL at spotandtango.com/Val.
Tyler, would you like to guess who has the highest batting average on the Astros right now?
Well, I would like to guess that it's Jake Meyers.
Hey, you're really good at this.
Thank
Jake
you.
Meyers does have currently the highest batting average on the Astros. He's hitting 305 in his first 59 at bats. Well, let's preface this with Jake Meyers did this last year. He was really good to start the season last year, and then, as we say, this is a league of adjustments. The league kind of adjusted, and he kind of fell off a cliff. So we have seen this before, that Jake Meyers gets off to very, very good starts, but it's coming at a great time because no one else in this lineup is really doing much. And to have him at the bottom of the order and to have his speed too, to have him have a 354 on base percentage, to have that.
Yeah, he's going wild on the base pass this year.
As he should. He has 7 stolen bases, and he's been caught once. So, I mean, 7 of 8 stealing bases. This is not a team that when they broke camp, you looked at them and said, oh, there's a ton of speed and athleticism here, because you were kind of thinking that, Jake Meyers was going to hit toward the bottom of the order and they were going to take his 220 batting average and 300 OBP and just live with it because he played defense. If this guy's getting on base and Jeremy Pena can get his on-base percentage up a little bit and Cam Smith's doing what we just said he's doing, all of a sudden you look at this team and you're like, damn, they're dynamic. They've got energy. They've got some athleticism.
He's real good in the outfield. I don't know how much you've watched of him out there, sitting there every day at your job, but man, he makes some incredible. The one he made on Maldonado today was crazy, just smashing into the wall. There's also something about the center fielder being left-handed. I don't know if it's because I grew up watching Jim Edmonds ruin my life, but I don't know why. But I love watching a left-handed guy in center field, and he is just so smooth out there. You mentioned adjustments. I mean, it's going to be hard to adjust to accidental bloop singles, which is what he's doing a lot of right now, but I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, again, look, if Jake Meyers can hit 250, like he's a very good player for the Astros. So he's well above that right now. And honestly, it's just putting the ball in play with his, as fast as he is, and as we've seen, has been like just little bloop hits. He doesn't have to swing for the fences. If he can just put bat to ball most of the time, he's going to be a productive big leaguer. This series for me, honestly, I kept thinking, like, I don't know that Chas McCormick has a spot for, a real spot on the Astros. Obviously, he can come in as a pinch runner every once in a while, but like they're not even getting at bats for Zach DeZenzo. There's no reason really for Chaz to be in there, unless you see some crazy cold streaks or you see an injury or whatever, which is why you have a Chas McCormick. But to me, this is really showing like, all right, Jake is your guy out there for sure.
Yeah, Chaz is the 4th outfielder. Like that. Yeah. That's what he is at this point. He's a 4th outfielder. He is Cam Smith's defensive replacement when they have a lead late in the game and Joe Espada takes Cam Smith out. I mean, he is the prototypical 4th outfielder. And he pinch ran today when Xander Bogaerts made a very heady play to get Christian Walker on base instead of Jeremy Pena. Christian Walker on base is not something that we've been saying very frequently, but we'll get to that in a little bit. But one thing about Jake Meyers that is encouraging peripherally, look, he's had a couple blue pits, he's had a couple ground balls like that have had eyes and gotten through, but this is a player that in his career has a 49 points, has had a 49.6% chase contact rate. That means when he chases pitches, he makes contact with them 49.6% of the time, which is usually when you're chasing and making contact on chase pitches, like you're not going to get good contact because they're bad pitches. They're pitches out of the zone. You're not going to make good contact with them. He's whittled that down to 34.8% this year. He's chasing as in total. He chased 31.2% of the time last year. He's chasing 23.7% of the time this year. So he's swinging at better pitches. And when he is swinging at better pitches, he's making better contact, which that to me illustrates that this is maybe more than just a 3-week heater. And look, I don't think Jake Meyers is going to hold a 300 batting average all year, but you're seeing some adjustments from him. He's a notorious early count swinger, swings at the first pitch a bunch, ambushes a lot early in counts. He does have a pretty ugly statistic that I believe he is hitless this year in every at bat that he's gotten to a 2-strike count. So he doesn't get deep into counts. We've talked about seeing a bunch of pitches, seeing pitches per plate appearance. That's the big thing about this Astros lineup that they wanted to improve this year. Jake Meyers not among them. He's going to see very few pitches. He's going to swing early and hope he can get it done. So some peripheral things that are encouraging for Jake Meyers. But like you said, if he keeps playing defense like this, and if he keeps, keeping Jose Altuve and Cam Smith beside him in the right position, if he keeps them in line, I should say, then he'll be worth his weight more 10 times over. He has locked down this team's starting center field job.
That's an outfield of cutie pies out there. Altuve, Meyers, and Cam Smith. That's a good looking outfield. Also, you mentioned you don't want to make a ton of contact on pitches that you chase. I bet I'd be really good at that. I bet I wouldn't hit a single one that I chase. I mean, I could be a major league ready guy if all I had to do was not hit things that were out of the strike zone and crush it at that. Bring it on.
I mean, unless you're Jose Altuve, who hit a ball tonight that was like 2 feet off the ground the other way for a single. Like he's just so good at that.
And he swung through one that was like over his head. I love it. Keep doing it. Who cares?
You live with it. Speaking of people that swing at things over their heads and can't get things done,
Mm-hmm.
This was a bad weekend in what is becoming a bad month for Yainer Diaz. It doesn't look like it's getting much better, and I don't know what they can realistically do at this point. I mean, he's their catcher. I mean, he's Joe Espada, sat him totally on Sunday. He pinch hit him late in the game and for the final at bat against Robert Suarez, and he struck out. Pinch hit him for Dubon. Yainer Diaz now has a 404 OPS and 63 at bats. He is 9 for 63. He has 3 extra base hits. He's again, this is a guy that we talked about because his bat to ball skills are so good. He's going to swing at a lot of pitches. He's going to swing at a lot of stuff that's everywhere, and he's just not making enough contact. He's expanding. Joe Espada talked before the game today, saying that he thought Yainer was swinging at some better pitches, thought the chasing was getting a little bit better, but every time he goes out there, it's kind of difficult to see that with your own eyes. And Tyler, I don't know what the recourse is here. Like, I don't know what you do. Do you just ride this out? Do you just kind of keep playing him and hope it gets better? Do you play Victor Caratini more? Do you just mentioned Zach DeCenzo's on this roster for no reason? Do you look to AAA and say, hey, let's get Cesar Salazar up here. He's a left-handed bat, gives you some balance on the bench, gives you a third catcher. I'm not saying he's going to take over playing time for Diaz, but he would at least give Joe Espada some flexibility to do some different things with Caratini, to do some different things with Diaz. It's a tough situation when your everyday catcher and a guy that you're counting on to hit in the middle of your order is scuffling this badly.
If it were October, I would say yes, you need to get him out of there, have somebody who could do something, but it's April and Yainer Diaz is your future and you just got to ride with it for a while and see what happens. Because, I mean, look, no disrespect to Salazar or Caratini, but they're not Yainer. They don't have the ceiling that Yainer has. And so marginally being better right now is not worth it. But I sure don't want to see him in the 5-hole right now. I don't want to see him anywhere near an important spot of the lineup because, look, it's one thing if you're going to chase everything and when you do make contact, you're squaring it up. He's not even doing that. Like, when he makes contact, it's little dribblers Like it is rough to watch right now. And I mean, yeah, I mean, he needs to be batting 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere down there, and just let him figure it out for a month. But no, you can't replace him with Carantini or Salazar. That's just not. It's not going to serve you anything long term. But good Lord, is he not doing well right now?
And look, I wasn't suggesting that they should replace him with either Caratini or Salazar, but getting Salazar would be a more useful piece for Joe Espada at this point than Zach DeZenzo, because Zach DeZenzo has no path to play on this team. Like the positions that Zach DeZenzo,
he played first base for an inning today. What are you talking about?
He did, and we'll get to the guy he replaced in a little bit, but there is a path though for Salazar. Like you can do some different things with Salazar. You can. Like if I'm just thinking of if it keeps going like this, like if in 2 weeks we're having the same conversation about Yainer Diaz, if his OPS still starts with a 4 or a 5 in 2 weeks, then they're going to have to be confronted with some look. They're not going to bench him altogether. They're not going to not play him, but you can have more of an equal timeshare. You can play Caratini a little bit more. You can use Salazar in certain situations. You can just having that insurance blanket, because right now Joe Espada can't afford to play, Caratini for a couple reasons. Caratini is the only semblance of balance you have on this team. He's a switch hitter. Everyone else is right-handed aside from Alvarez. So on the days that Joe Espada wants another left-handed bat in his lineup, like he's making himself really vulnerable because he's playing Caratini and Diaz at the same time. All it takes is whoever of those two guys is catching. All it takes is one foul tip, and you are up a creek without a paddle because you don't have a third catcher. You have Salazar there. At least that gives Joe Espada more freedom and flexibility to do some different things with his lineup, to get a left-handed bat higher up in the lineup, to hit Yainer Diaz maybe lower in the lineup. It opens up a lot more than maybe anything DeZenzo would. So that's maybe something they're going to consider. I'm not breaking any news here, but I don't think Zach DeZenzo is going to be on this roster much longer. I think that decision is coming fairly soon, if not imminently. So it'll be interesting to see what they do to replace him. But, Salazar's on the 40-man roster, and if you look down at AAA Sugarland, there's no one really knocking on the door that's raring to go that's going to come immediately help this lineup. So something for them to think about. Again, it's early. Yainer Diaz he's only taken 63 at bats. This is not an overreaction sort of. This is not
at bats is in quotation marks.
Yeah. But again, like you talked about, they broke camp thinking that the middle of their order was going to be some version of Alvarez, Walker, Diaz, and 1 out of 3 is not what you're looking for in the middle of the order. And to make matters worse, Christian Walker remains in the stock down category. We say this after he did hit a big home run in Saturday's game. That was a big lift for them, but again, hasn't done much else. Did not look good at all on Sunday. Joe Espada moved him Saturday. He moved him into the 5-hole, put Jeremy Pena in the cleanup spot. I think that's something that is going to stick for a little bit until Christian Walker demonstrates that he should. That he merits hitting cleanup. We talked about this with Josh Tyler. It's one thing to say, "Oh, move him down," but like this is not a lineup right now where there's a ton of guys that you can just say that you readily want to move up, that you want to readily get more at bats. Like we just talked about Jake Meyers. Do you want Jake Meyers in the middle of this lineup? Like, no. Like it's going to be up to Christian Walker to figure it out. And I was thinking about this today, and we're gonna tie in both of these guys together. Who are you more concerned about long term in this season? Are you more concerned about Walker, or are you more concerned about Diaz?
Yainer, 100%. Yainer has looked lost, just completely lost. Christian Walker has looked very bad, but it is not to the same level, and he has a much longer track record of success. His bat speed is still there. Like it's not like it's not like he aged overnight and like can't swing anymore. It's just, decisions are bad. He's not making good contact, but he's still swinging hard. And he also is really, really good at first base and is providing like phenomenal defense. Even the ones that fans are complaining about, where he'll like get a glove on something and it's like, oh, he didn't make that. I'm like, dude, no one else would have been within 10 feet of that. Like,
There were the 2 balls today,
Yep.
on Fromber that bounced out of his glove. Like, I don't think there was a first baseman on this team last year that would have kept those balls on the infield.
I don't think there's a first baseman in the big leagues that like he's again, it is difficult to explain how much better like he is than the second best defensive first baseman in baseball. He's so good at first base. And so, yeah, he's going to get his glove on some that, he didn't get to. But even that one today where it ended up first and second because he couldn't get the out, that should have been first and third. It should have just been a grounder through the right side of the infield. So I'm less concerned about Walker. I mean, it's getting crunch time of like, all right, man, time to start figuring things out. But Yainer scares me a whole lot more than Walker still.
The track record thing is something that I would point to. And look, I'm not about to trot out back of the baseball card here. I know that's a dirty phrase to a lot of Astros fans, given that you heard it so much last year through the Jose Abreu saga. But there's some merit to it. Like when you get guys with the longevity that Christian Walker has, like
he's 34, he's not 40 either.
Right.
It's not like, yeah.
But those guys, like Christian Walker, didn't forget how to hit overnight.
No,
like he's got 3 to 5 major league seasons of sustained success, complete seasons where he has done very well. Yainer Diaz has produced for one entire major league season. Like we don't need to relitigate 2023 about how Dusty Baker, how he played him, how he deployed him. He played 104 games that year. That is a partial season. He has one full season in 2024 where he played 148 games and took 619 plate appearances, had 117 OPS plus. This guy has one full season of sustained success. And in that one full season, he went his final 126 plate appearances of the season without a home run. So we have seen this guy have slumps even in the one season where he's had success. That to me worries me. Now, again, we're still in that part of the season where he puts 4 or 5 good days together and we're not talking about this. The numbers can easily be remedied. But as we sit here right now, I'm probably more concerned about Yainer Diaz and where they can go from here with him. And to be quite frank, looking at how Joe Espada has handled both situations between Christian Walker and Yainer Diaz, I tend to say he agrees. And I'm not saying that he's told me that, but I'm just going by his actions. Like Yainer has sat out multiple games. Yeah, like Yainer's being dropped down the lineup quicker. Like the quality of the at-bats are so poor that you are seeing more drastic action from Joe Espada when it comes to Diaz, as opposed to Walker, who, I mean, look, we're not going to sit here and give Christian Walker a $20 million first baseman pats on the back because he's drawing walks, but the at-bats look better than Walker's. He's just than Diaz's, excuse me. He's just not getting the results. Diaz's at-bats don't look good, and the results match it.
And again, there's a floor that Walker can provide defensively. I have 3 stolen bases against Yainer this year just on accident, just walking to my car. So it's not even like you can say, oh, well, at least, it's not like a Maldonado thing where it's like, yeah, he's not hitting, but he does all the magic in the background, right? Like it's rough. I don't know. I'd probably offer him like a 7-year, $75 million extension and just see what happens. But yeah, it's not good.
Should be noted that not all stolen bases are on the catcher. The pitching staff does an awful job of holding runners, of incorporating slide steps, of knowing the pitch clock. They're not good at varying their times to home plate. So a lot of times Yainer Diaz doesn't even have a chance, just given the way that this pitching staff operates. But I will say, we spent the entire Padres preview pod talking about how they were going to run all over them, and that really never happened.
Yep.
So look, you saw a couple. I think you saw Ryan Gusto have some slide steps. You saw Framber Valdez hold the running game okay in Sunday's game. And the biggest thing is, like, if you don't allow guys on base, then that usually helps, that they're not going to run on you if they're not on base.
Mm-hmm. That's a new strategy I'm trying out. Maybe just don't let anybody on base. That's what I'd say if I was a pitching coach. Have you tried that?
You want to hear something really weird that's going to be in a story that posts on The Athletic on Monday morning about the Astros bullpen?
Is there a ghost?
There's not a ghost, no.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, give me your second weirdest thing.
Kind of the ghost of Ryan Presley, because Forrest Whitley's wearing 55 now.
Ooh. Oh, I saw the Lincecum thing.
Yeah, it's an ode to Tim Lincecum, who was Forrest Whitley's like childhood idol. He then at the end of the interview goes, "Oh yeah, and Ryan Presley too." But yeah. So
did you say? Does it even work to say that Whitley looked up to Lincecum? Because I don't know that was ever physically possible. Maybe in like fifth grade.
We would have to know when Forrest Whitley hit his growth spurt. But yeah, Forrest Whitley doesn't look up at many people. He looks down on a lot of people. But it was interesting. So when they activated him off the IL, Forrest Whitley can hit 99. He hovers around 97, 98 with his fastball. So it was like, they don't really have anyone like that. They have Brian Abreu, who throws very hard, but they don't really have anyone like that. So I was like, let me look into this and like kind of get some numbers on it. Did you know that the Astros bullpen throws more fastballs than any bullpen in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, that tracks because Hader throws a ton of fastballs. Taylor Scott, I'm sure his counts the weird sinker that he throws. And then Brian King just throws 93-mile-an-hour fastballs wherever he wants and then gets everybody out, which is fun. But yeah, that's interesting.
I'm glad you brought up 93, because here's the other part of it. They throw the most fastballs of any bullpen in baseball. They have an average velocity on their fastballs of 93.6 miles an hour, which is the seventh slowest in the big leagues. So they don't throw hard, but they throw a lot of fastballs anyway. So it's going to be interesting, because I think that this is what they are missing, a right-handed power velocity arm kind of in the middle. Like, they can't just rely on Brian Abreu to throw 98, then that'd be their only power arm guy. And Josh Hader's got some high velocities from the left side. And he's a different cat altogether, and he's not going to pitch in middle innings. Getting Whitley and Caleb Ort, they'll get Caleb Ort back, I believe, pretty imminently, probably Monday or Tuesday. That's another guy that throws around 98. I think it'll bring a different dimension that they need, because I think you even saw it in tonight's game. Asking Steven Okert, a left-handed pitcher, to go out and face the middle of the Padres order, which is basically all right-handed. They need a couple more just right-handed guys that can go in there and throw gas, throw 98, throw 97, 98. And they're going to get that in Forrest Whitley and Caleb Ort. And it's an interesting thing to analyze, because like the bullpen's been really good. They have the fourth lowest ERA in baseball. Their bullpen does. It's not as if like them having meager velocity is hindering them, but I think it's something that can only make them better, because, as you know, Tyler, like bullpens, the best bullpens have diversity. They have diverse looks. And when you start to look at this bullpen, like, yeah, they've got some funky guys. Like, no one knows why Brian King's fastball does what he does. Taylor Scott throws from a different slot. They have a bunch of lefties, but I think they could benefit from having someone other than Brian Abreu come in and throw 97, 98.
He was activated for the weekend, right? He just didn't get in.
Of course, yeah. So he's activated on Saturday. So he was available on Saturday. And the other thing,
game, yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing, this has been interesting. Have you noticed Joe Espada? The one trend I've noticed in his kind of 2-year managerial tenure, when games are close, like when they're within 3 runs, he does not like going to guys that don't have a real track record. Like Logan Van Wy was up in Seattle, and like all those games were close, and he was throwing guys back-to-back days. He had his bullpen was short. And like Logan Van Wy never saw the field. Forrest Whitley kind of today, like Taylor Scott went out there and threw in the 7th inning today after throwing 2 innings on Saturday. And Taylor Scott got a tie game today instead of, Forrest Whitley. So I'm not saying it was a Forrest Whitley thing. I just think that's something we've seen from Joe that, in close games, he does prefer guys with a track record, guys, maybe not making their major league debuts, or guys maybe not. Whereas you see other managers like, like if he's here, I'm going to pitch him. If he's on my roster, I'm pitching him. I think Joe does a little bit differently.
I don't think that it matters a ton, honestly. I think you could random number generate who you wanted to come out of the bullpen most of the time, and it would be. But you still have to get that many outs no matter what. So I don't think it matters a ton. But yeah, I don't know if that's his thing. That's what. But I certainly would have rather seen Forrest Whitley today than Taylor Scott. But hopefully we see him soon, man. I'm pumped for him. I really hope he can come in and have a good year. Not only as someone who watches the Astros, but for him, like he is a guy that I really want to have a good year. He's been through a ton.
Yeah. If he runs out to God's going to cut you down, then it'll be a very eerie sight to see 55 running out to God's going to cut you down. Which Astro turned Blue Jay are you most excited to see this week?
Well, the cowards took away Joey Loperfido from us, didn't they?
Joey Loperfido, who was like the greatest baseball player ever invented when they traded him. I was told that this was going to be the death of the franchise. They traded Joey Loperfido.
It's very rude that they took him away. I mean, it's obviously George Springer. I'm excited every time I see George Springer. I can't wait. He's so much fun. But do you think James Click is at the park? Do you think he comes?
He still lives in Houston. So
I know. That's what I'm saying. Do you think he comes?
Yeah, he may show up. He can blend in pretty easily.
Come on the pod, James.
He looks just a normal guy. I'm going to assume James doesn't listen to this. And if he does, I'm going to assume he doesn't get 42 minutes in. Sorry about Duke, James, if you are listening. Huge Duke basketball fan. Huge Duke basketball fan. So he could not have enjoyed the NCAA tournament. But, to each their own. I'm looking forward to seeing Miles Straw. Miles Straw, great dude. Quirky guy, very fast. Got them Yainer Diaz. So, look, we can all connect all dots. So we will see Miles Straw. We will see George Springer. We will see Yimi Garcia. We will see Will Wagner. Who knows? We could see Jake Bloss if someone gets hurt. We'll see them all at Dyken Park this week as the Astros take on the Blue Jays in a 3-game set. Hunter Brown will pitch on Monday night, which has become appointment television. So tune in to watch Hunter Brown throw 99 by a bunch of unsuspecting Canadians. And who knows, maybe he will get them off on the right foot and make up for Sunday's loss. We will be back with you this week talking Astros Blue Jays, talking some different stuff, maybe even a player appearance on Crush City territory this week. Who knows? You'll have to stay tuned. You can rate and review us on Apple. You can subscribe on YouTube to stay tuned so you can get an alert every time we post a new podcast. So we'll be back this week. We appreciate you guys watching, following, and listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.